My name is, I'm the convener for the Caucus of African American Leaders. I want to just take a moment to sort of set the tone before we have our speaker rise to the challenge. We have a tremendous thanks and a great deal of gratitude to give to Vanessa Bright. Vanessa Bright is inaugurating a program that is so needed, not only in our county, in our state, but our nation. I just want to take a moment to set this up so that the speaker who follows you will appreciate what she has to deal with. We're living in a world and at a time where cities all over the nation is missing something so precious, so important. It's called hope. I was driving down North Avenue in Baltimore 3 days ago, and I saw a sign that was the perfect example of what's called an oxymoron. I found myself having to stop when I saw this sign.
Excuse me, Carl, can you speak up a little louder? I can't see hear you in the back of the room.
The sign that I saw coming down North Avenue caused me to stop and pause and wonder aloud. Was I reading this sign correctly? The sign was Baltimore, clean and safe. Under the sign, Baltimore, clean and safe, happened to be a dead rat, which I photographed. And I thought of all of the people who go down North Avenue would see that sign. Is it a sign where people are expressing what their hope Baltimore would be? Once clean and safe. Or are people delusional? Do they see things that are not there? In Anne Arundel County, as in other parts of the state and the nation, people, many of them young people, are being incarcerated in great numbers for crimes of all types. They then pay the price, whatever the crime was. And then they have to come home to neighborhoods and to communities and back into society. I met a man whose name is James Taylor, but they used to call him Ghost. That was his nickname. And Ghost once told me this. He said, the problem with rehabilitation is that people feel to realize that some of us have never been rehabilitated. Some of us don't have the skills that people just assume that we have. And so when people leave institutions, the question is, will they come back to those institutions? Will recidivism be the order of the day? And our speaker who's going to follow me has an awesome responsibility. She has to balance justice with the reality that the people she imprisoned will one day come home. And all communities, all people want safe communities. Safe communities. Before bringing Ann Colt-Lightis on, who's our newly elected state's attorney, who has an awesome responsibility. It's her office that determines who gets prosecuted, who will face the ball of justice. Before bringing her on, I want to just have us take a moment and reflect on the tragedy that we had here in the county, in our own criminal justice system. A young man, he was our only son. He wanted to go to school, and so he came to Mrrc. He matriculated to college a year and a half earlier than his colleagues. He was that promise that so many mothers want in life. Friends who knew him said that he was the kind of kid that when you ran into him, he exerted such positive energy He had a dispute with a neighbor. And many of you know the story. The neighbor threatened him. And this young boy, this boy had been taught right from wrong. This boy had spent all of his adult life and childhood in a church. Did what he was told he should do. He went to see a commissioner and got a peace order. The commissioner granted the peace order. This particular peace order lasts for a period of time. And then he had to go to court to try to get the peace order extended. And the judge had to make a decision. I don't know whether she saw all the facts, whether she knew what we know now. That the person he was frightened of was a violent man, had a record of hurting people. She decided to not grant the peace order. Now the reason I want to bring this up, before bringing on the speaker, to set the context. We expect our criminal justice system to work. We expect people who do crime to pay for those crimes. But we also recognize, we should, that we have to have a system that evaluates people who go in and people who come out. The public record shows that this man had issues. He'd been to prison before. I wonder what reentry program he got involved in. Bishop Thomas, I wondered, did he have anybody who counseled him? I wondered, did anybody take him aside? These reentry programs are important. They literally can mean the difference between life and death. That's why I'm so proud of Vanessa Price and other volunteers, and those who come out tonight to support us. This is an investment in the future. Please join me and welcome to the podium one of our leaders, one of the people who are responsible for helping to keep our community safe and to ensure that people who return to our community are people who get the kind of assistance that they will need to matriculate through our communities safely. The Honorable Ann Cole-Mites.
It's really an honor for me to be here. I'm the State's Attorney for Anne Arundel County, and I've held that job for off and on 25 years. And I'm so happy to be part of the Maryland Reentry Resource Center's inaugural event. It aims to provide formerly incarcerated individuals with the help they need to live a productive life and become law-abiding citizens in our county. And with Ms. Bright's vision, the Resource Center will provide hope and opportunity for those who need help with finding a job, finding a place to live, and at the most basic level, giving them a second chance. Now you may be asking yourself, why is a prosecutor here tonight talking about reentry? But the reality is, most people will get out of jail. Unless you're serving a life sentence for homicide, you will get out of jail and you will come back into the community. And we have a choice to make. When you come back, will we help you or will we leave you to your own devices? And I've had the opportunity as a prosecutor all these years to see exactly the kind of collateral damage that happens when people go to prison. And sometimes you don't necessarily feel bad for the person when they go to prison at the time, if they committed a violent crime, but the collateral damage is to their families, it's to their children, it's to their loved ones, who then lose a means of physical support, financial support. Children often go into foster care, they're under extreme mental stress. So I think the reentry program is going to be essential so that families can be reunited and that people who are getting out of prison have the ability to support their children, support their families, to have meaningful jobs, and keep their children on the same straight path that we want them to serve. Once an individual has paid his or her debt to society, we have an obligation in our community to help them. We cannot turn our backs on them. We cannot leave them without the tools and the resources to make things better. We can create a stronger community if we give individuals the tools to succeed and truly turn their lives around. When we help former inmates stabilize their lives, all of us will benefit in the long run. Consider for a moment that it costs more than $40,000 per year to incarcerate somebody, either locally or in the prison. Imagine what we could do with that money if we invested in people. Because that's what we're talking about, investing in individuals. We don't want to throw people away. We want to give a second chance. So please join me in applauding Vanessa for having the kind of vision that brings us all here tonight at her inaugural fundraiser. I am happy to be a part of it. And I want to say the State's Attorney's Office is trying to do their part as well. We recently won $100,000 in grant funding to fight gun violence. And we're going to use part of that to have a program that helps first offenders who are caught up in gun violence crimes so that we can steer them away from the path to prison, instead into a path to a successful and law-abiding life. So I hope. Believe it or not, prosecutors don't just want to put people in jail. We don't want people to go to jail. Jail is the last resort for the most violent persons among our society. And so I think that if we spend our money wisely in this county, and we support programs like Vanessa's and parole and probation and the Anne Arundel County Detention Center programs for reentry, that we'll all do well in the long run. Thank you very much. My main job tonight, I almost forgot it, is introducing some of our elected officials and special guests. So we have Scott Poyer here tonight, who is our clerk of the court. Delegate Sandy Bartlett for District 32. And we have our Orphans Court Judge, Vicki Gibson. And our delegate, Heather Bagnall, cannot be here tonight, but we have her representative, Amy Britt, tonight. We also have some very special guests here. We have Apostle Larry Lee Thomas here tonight. We have Pastor Terry Allen here tonight as well. And we have representatives from WISE of Severna Park, and we have SoCo Connect. Mr. Porter, would you like to make a few remarks?
Sure.
That's true.
I just wanted to take a moment to say that I first heard this idea at Ignite Annapolis. Vanessa was there and she presented, and you made a believer of me that night. You were fantastic. You did a really great speech, and this is such a fantastic idea. It's needed. It is really needed here in Anne Arundel County, here in Maryland, throughout the United States. Because I'm a believer in results. One thing we have at the court, in the circuit court, is something called drug court. If somebody is convicted of a drug crime and they go to jail, they have about a 50% chance of being re-arrested again, usually within about 21 months. If they go to drug court, they get treatment. If they get treatment, they have a 75% chance of never being arrested again. When you put the money in, when you put the time into helping people get back into their communities, we all benefit. And so that's why, Vanessa, you made me a believer, and I applaud you for coming up with
Thank you, Vanessa. Vanessa came to me in my office down in Annapolis, and she was helping me with a bill to reform Maryland Correctional Institute for Women. And Vanessa very humbly said, "Oh, I'm having an event on May 1st. I hope you can come." Just threw it in there while we're talking about her accountability. And I thought, oh, okay, well, yeah, let me see. She goes, yeah, you can make it. Well, it was just so humble. And she didn't go out and and pressure or anything like that. She just asked me to come, and I said I would, and I'm here. And I'm very happy to be here, Vanessa, and I think this is a worthy project. I serve on the Judiciary Committee, so I hope Vanessa and I will be working, and the reentry program will be Resource Center will be working closely together. We had 2 bills I wanted to speak about really quickly, and then I gotta tell you guys some really good news that we got today. One was a bill that was put in, unfortunately it was not passed, but it was put in by Delegate Lewis. And that bill says that when a person has been in segregation, they're just not automatically dumped. When they're done with they've served their time and they spent most of their time in segregation, or the latter part of their time in segregation, they're not just automatically dumped into the community with nowhere to go, with no counseling, nothing. Because if you think about it, I mean, the whole purpose of segregation, as antiquated as it is, and when I say segregation, isolated, segregated housing, those are all what I mean. But as antiquated as it is a form of changing your human behavior at the worst, in one of the worst ways. So with making that change and not having any transition before someone is back on the streets, there's always going to be a circular movement here. So that's one bill. If you all hear about it again, please come out and support it. It will be filed again. The other bill did pass that I wanted to mention, and that was on, I forgot it. Which one was it?
The study for the reentry?
The study for the reentry that wasn't one that I wanted, but that's good. There was one other bill that we passed that I thought was really great. If I think of it, I'll talk to you about it. The one that which one? Are you thinking of?
I saw something where he, about, taking the job applications.
Oh, yeah, that's a very good one, yes. Banning the box is what we're calling it.
Yes.
It was first introduced in 2017, I believe, with the Justice Reform Reinvestment Act by Delegate Barron, and that was just to ban the box with respect to college applications, that you wouldn't be allowed to ask that question, about your prison record or jail record or whatever. Well, they've done, Nick Mosby's bills, put it in for job applications, okay, because it can be a heavy weight, a heavy burden, and it doesn't allow for employment.
Oh, maybe it would be mental health and opioid.
Yes, next. I kept thinking that. Yes, thank you so much. It was, okay, there was another bill that was introduced and this one passed. This was Delegate Barron's bill. And Delegate Barron, I hope will, Vanessa, I hope you're in touch with him as well, because he is a Justice Reinvestment Act guru. And this bill, again, ties towards reentry, in my opinion, and that is, there is a medically assisted treatment program that will be held in the prison system, so that when you have someone who has a substance abuse, they can get that treatment in jail or in prison, and as opposed to no treatment in prison, you get out, and again, you're committing crimes to possibly deal with an addiction, and not treating it as the addiction as a disease that it is. Okay, so those are those things. The last thing I wanted to say was we elected a speaker today. Now, no one can replace Speaker Mike Bush, but we did come to a wonderful, wonderful agreement, and it was unanimous in the House. And our new speaker is the wonderful Adrienne Jones.
Yeah.
If you don't know Adrienne, if you don't know that name, look her up and make an appointment to see her when you can. Give her a moment, but when you can, get in there, talk to her, because she's brand new to the speaker role. She served as speaker pro tem for 15 years, but she's brand new to the speaker role. So you know what brand new means. Clean slate, open book. Start making your agenda, what you need. Thank you so much.
If you get a quick, would you like to make a few judgments? I want to thank everybody for coming. This is such an important event. I want to get a show of hands. How many people in the room know somebody that's gotten in trouble and gone to jail? Pretty curious. Okay, so by my count, that's the majority of folks in the room. The problem with this is that it's not a problem that affects somebody else. It's a problem that affects all of us. And I was happy to hear Ann say that this is, we have a responsibility to provide some kind of re-entry assistance or services to people who live in our county who are returning citizens. The problem, however, is that we don't. We do not provide sufficient services. If you get out, you're on your own to find a job, you're on your own to find housing, you know, you're on your own to find food, you're on your own, you know, and so what that means is that you have people that are put into desperation, a cycle of desperation, and that means that they're being more inclined to do something that they shouldn't, that might hurt other people, and it certainly would hurt their chances of staying in the society. So this is my suggestion, so I hope that there's no political blowback. This is Vicki Gibson suggesting that if you all want to do something to help, pick the phone up, call Stuart Pittman, and tell him to fund Maryland Reentry Resource Center. If you don't do anything else, just pick the phone up, because there are a lot of corporate-like services that are, or programs that are out there. They don't care about people from Maryland County. Vanessa does. So we want people who care about our community to provide services in our community. So please do that. It's really essential. And thank you again for coming.
Now, the woman of the hour.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to again thank everybody for coming. Thank you for all the support and all the encouragement. I read a book called Starting with the Why by Simon Sinek. And so you've heard what Maryland Reentry Resources Center wants to do. You've heard the vision, you've heard the need, but I'm going to tell you the why. But before I do that, I'm going to let you hear from Ramika Fowler because she was very instrumental and me wanting to do this.
How you doing? Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. I have an extremely long story, but I'll try to wrap it up in a short time. Can you hear me? I met Vanessa Bright at the Maryland Correctional Institution for Women. I was currently serving a 20-year sentence on a violent crime. When I met her, I was already registered as a GPAP student, which is Goucher's Prison Education Partnership. After that, I met Vanessa in a business entrepreneurship program. My hunger for education has been consistent. And when I met her, she introduced the world of entrepreneurship to us. And for me, I always knew that I had the ability to do great things in life. I didn't have someone to provide the tools and to push me and to say, this is possible, this is for you, you can achieve it, you just have to want it. I wrote my first business plan with Vanessa, right? We worked as a group. We had an ice cream sale. I learned about surveys, I learned about feedback, I learned about the financial aspect of it, how much does the unit price, how much does the ice cream cost, how much are you gonna sell it for, what's your markup? I learned so many great things that I could stand here and speak about because they were a pivotal time in my life, but they were also impactful, something that I would never, ever, ever forget. Now that when I first came home after serving 14 and a half years, I was new to the world. And I had to reintroduce myself all over again. I had the pressure of succeeding. I had the pressure of my peers that looked like me, men and women, that I left behind. And I knew that I was walking an example and I couldn't fail myself, because if I failed for myself, I failed them as well. Finding employment was extremely hard, but with Vanessa, I learned to sell myself. So I learned how to create an email. I walked to the library every day, Carney Library, Baltimore. And on my way, I started to check things off on my list. And I said, I have to get a job, I have to sell myself. But a background, the one that I had, it would have been extremely hard. Thank God to pay the box, which I volunteered for once upon a time, out for justice. But I walked into a pizza shop. And when I got arrested, everything was manual. When I came home, everything was electronic. And so I walked in, and the guy said, "Why should I hire you?" And I said, "Because I need a job." And he said, "Are you applying for?" I said, "I can apply for a cashier." And he said, "But you have no experience." And I thought to myself, sell yourself, sell yourself. I said, "No, but I have an A in statistics, and I promise you I will not switch money out." And he said, "Come back tomorrow, I'll give you a chance." And it was because of the tools that Vanessa passed down to us. It was because of the confidence that she helped instill in us. I knew that if I can create a business plan, if I can sell a project and have a successful fundraiser, I know I can be a cashier. So, yeah, it wasn't easy. It was hard, and there was many things that was hard about it. But having what I needed, my only regret is that I didn't have that introduction before my incarceration. I feel as if I had had that introduction before my incarceration, I would have known that I have a support system, I have the things that I need, and that there are alternatives. There's alternatives to violence, there's alternatives to drugs, there's other things available. So currently, right now, I am a full Gotcha Prison Education and Partnership staff member. I am a sophomore on the main campus. I volunteer in my spare time with Karen York and Nicole Hansen for Out for Justice in JOTF. And I owe partly some of that to Vanessa, so I want to personally say thank you, not just for myself, but also for our class and for the women that you have taught that are still there. I want to say thank you for believing in us. I want to say thank you for taking time out of your life to give to us. I want to say thank you for giving me the courage and the know-how to stand up for myself and believe in whatever I do, to put 110% in it, because 100 is not enough. I want to thank you from woman to woman for helping me find a light that I knew existed but was dimmed by so many different tragedies that I faced. And I want to tell you that I love you, and I pray that everything that comes in your path is nothing but positive and good. I am always here for you. I will always support you. I will always represent you. And not just in your presence, when you're not even looking. And again, I want to thank you for not forgetting about the look.
So you see what happens when people are given a second chance. So that's what this is all about. And I've been told recently, I have a mentor, Mike Metcher, and he's helping me with the lean startup model, really fine-tune my plan of what Maryland Reentry Center is going to be. But we do have, what he told me is a big, hairy, audacious goal, and that is to eradicate recidivism. So that's the overall, overarching goal. So everything that we will be doing will be for that purpose. Initially, we're going to start lean and small. We will be starting at parole and probation intake, which is at the district court in Annapolis. Everybody who goes through parole and probation must come through that office. So our case management services will start there. I will have a couple of interns from AACC that will be working with me, and we'll be taking as many clients as the three of us can initially handle. And we're going to start that June 3rd is our launch party. I just want to thank everybody that's in this room. I told Ann, she kind of forced me to do this. She made me feel like I could have this fundraiser and actually kick this off, because this is something that I wanted to do. Mrrc was in my class in 2014. I mean, it's 2019, but the time just seemed right. I was very blessed to participate in the campaign for Stuart Pittman last year, and doing that, I was able to meet so many wonderful people, most of which are here today, so many wonderful groups. And everybody has been so encouraging and supporting. So I just want you to give yourselves a hand. Another big part of the plan is, because there are two big barriers for people that come out, housing and employment. So those are two that we're going to tackle. And we are meeting with employers now, talking about building those relationships and collaboration. And a good friend of mine who I've known for many years just told me if I want to do housing, she's interested in helping me to do that. So, you know, with all your help and support, we're gonna make this happen, and we're gonna, like they eradicated polio, we're gonna eradicate recidivism. So I just want to say that all the food was donated. It's a lean operation. I want to just go through the list real quickly of everybody that made the food possible. Costco, Sam's Club, Mission Barbecue, Outback, Chevy's of Annapolis, Palate Pleasers, Chick-fil-A, Severna Park, Nukes of Wall Chapel, New Matsu, which is a sushi, gave a sushi treat, Cafe Mezzanote, Carol Boyer donated the cake, Maggiano's of Annapolis, Whole Foods of Annapolis, Fish Paws, Geno's, Shoppers, PF Chains, Homestead, and Sin from Terrace. And if you notice, if you got a copy of the handout, which my very tired son passed out, it has a little ad on there from Delegate Michael Jackson. I've known him for several years. He used to be a former sheriff in Prince George's County. He represents Prince George's County now as a delegate, and he was a sponsor also. So I want to thank him for that as well. So, and how could I forget? My mother came here from Georgia. I must say, and I meant to start out with this. This is because of my parents that I'm able and want to do this. To whom much is given, much is required. So I grew up with that, and I'm trying to continue in that practice. So thank you, Mom. That concludes my remarks. I hope everybody will stay, eat, and mix and mingle.